RAIDRAPTORs is a winged beast Xyz archetype that focuses on using rank up magics to rank up their Xyz monsters. Their main deck birds spam level 4 materials on the field, and the Xyz monsters have aggressive effects that pop monsters, attack multiple times, and deal effect damage. We don't have a card that consistently searches the rank up magics, but luckily we have a skill that does that for us, which gives us access to Evolzar's Solder in turn 1. So let's go through the card by card. First off, we have RAIDRAPTOR Mimicry Lanius. It's once per turn during the main phase. If this card is normal or special summoned this turn, you can increase all RAIDRAPTOR monsters' levels by 1. And the second effect is the main effect that you will be using. During the main phase, if this card is sent to the graveyard that turn, you can banish itself and add any RAIDRAPTOR card from your deck to your hand. So it doesn't only add monsters, it also adds stuff like RAIDRAPTOR Nest, which will be searched with this card most of the time. Next up, we have Tribute Lanius. During the main phase, if this card is normal special summon this turn, you can send a RAIDRAPTOR card, again, not only monsters, from your deck to your graveyard. So usually you will use this to send the Mimicry Lanius and then use that to search Nest or any other RAIDRAPTOR monster that you don't have in your hand. We have a Vanishing Lanius. This card once per turn during your main phase. If it is normal special summon this turn, you can special summon a level 4 or lower RAIDRAPTOR monster from your hand. So for some RAIDRAPTORs that don't special summon themselves, like Mimicry Lanius, you can use Vanishing Lanius to special summon it, and then use those two monsters to make a rank 4. Pain Lanius. This is a special summon. It can special summon itself from your hand by targeting a RAIDRAPTOR monster you control, and then you take a damage equal to half its attack or defense, whichever is lower. And also this monster's level becomes that monster's level as well. So even though it's level 1, you usually just normal summon any level 4 RAIDRAPTOR monster, and then special summon Pain Lanius, and then it becomes level 4, and then you can use it as an Xyz summon. Fuzzy Lanius, this is also a free summon. It can special summon itself as long as you control a RAIDRAPTOR monster. And also, if this card is sent to a graveyard, you add another copy of itself from your deck to your hand. But this card has a restriction in that you cannot special summon other monsters except for RAIDRAPTOR monsters during the turn you activate either of its effects. So if you're trying to go for Evolzar's Solder in turn 1, you will not use the effect of Fuzzy Lanius, and instead you will try to use something like Pain Lanius that special summons itself without locking you into only RAIDRAPTORs. Next up, we have a copy of Singing Lanius. This will be your search target with 4 Strix. And it's special summon itself if you control a Xyz monster. So it is an extender if you want to make more than 1 Xyz monsters when you're going second to push for game. Next up, we have the rank up magics. We have Soul Shave Force. You can pay half of the life points and revive a RAIDRAPTOR Xyz monster from graveyard, and then you can rank up any Xyz monster from your extra deck which has 2 ranks higher than the monster that you revived. So we will be reviving 4 Strix to make Evolzar's Solder. Next up, we will go through Raid Force. Raid Force is the normal spell card that ranks up your RAIDRAPTORs. It ranks 1 rank higher than the Xyz monster you rank up on. And also it has a really useful graveyard effect that allows you to banish itself and also a RAIDRAPTOR from your hand to recycle another rank up magic from your graveyard, which most of the time will be a copy of Soul Shave Force. So if you're going first, and you use Soul Shave Force during your first turn to make Solder, you can, during your next turn, you can use Raid Force to rank into a rank 5, and then use its graveyard effect, and get back the Soul Shave Force, and then use it again to make a Revolution Falcon, which is really useful. Our third rank up magic is Revolution Force. This is arguably the worst one because it is a quick play spell, which means if you set it with your skill, you can't activate it that turn. But if you use it during either player's turn, it has different effects. If you use it during your turn, which is what you will do most of the time, you can rank up a RAIDRAPTOR, which has 1 rank higher than it. And during your opponent's turn, it has a niche effect that steals your opponent's Xyz monster with no material, and then rank a RAIDRAPTOR monster which has a rank higher than it. Anyway, Our last spell is RAIDRAPTOR Nest. We only play a single copy because it is searchable with the graveyard effect of Mimicry Lanius. If you control 2 or more RAIDRAPTOR monsters, you can add a RAIDRAPTOR monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Really useful. It is once per turn, but you can use it every turn because it is a continuous spell. For traps, these are our staple trap slots. For this free-to-play version, we're playing Different Dimension Ground and 3 copies of Ultimate Providence. You can play whatever you want in these 5 slots. Just play the best staple traps that you have. For the extra deck, we have RAIDRAPTOR Revolution Falcon. This is our rank 6 boss monster. Because if we use the effect of Fuzzy Lanius, which locks us into RAIDRAPTORs, and you want to activate Soul Shave Force, you can use it to summon a Revolution Falcon from your extra deck. It has a really useful effect that allows you to detach a Xyz material to attack all monsters. At the start of the damage step, it battles an opponent's special summoned monster. That special summon monster's attack and defense becomes 0. And if this card has a RAIDRAPTOR Xyz monsters as material, which it will have because you're using your Soul Shade Force, you can also once per turn target a monster and pop it, and also deal a bit of effect damage. And then this is our main monster, Rise Falcon. It isn't very good on its own, but because we're using our skill, it lets us summon this card a lot easier. So this card can attack all special summoned monsters, and you can detach one material to increase its attack equal to an attack of one special summoned monster your opponent controls. So this itself can also clear your opponent's board by just targeting the monster with the highest attack on your opponent's side, and you can attack all of your opponent's monsters and clear their board. But most of the time, because of our skill, RAIDRAPTOR's Rising, it allows us to rank Rise Falcon. It normally needs 3 level 4 Wing Beast type monsters, but with our skill, we can just rank it up on top of any of our RAIDRAPTOR monsters. And also, you can detach a material from Rise Falcon to set a rank up magic from your deck to your side of the field. So even if we're not trying to push for a game with Rise Falcon's effect, we can also summon it during our first turn and then use the effect of our skill to set the rank up magics to our spell and trap zone. Next up is Evolzar Solda. That is the only non-RAIDRAPTOR monster we're playing in this deck. This is our target for Soul Shave Force in turn 1, and it has a really useful effect. It is not once per turn. When your opponent special summons a monster, you can detach one and pop that monster. But it will only have one material because if you use Soul Shave Force, you only revive a single Xyz monster and then rank it up on top of that, which only gives it a single material. So even though it's not once per turn, you can only pop one monster. Next up is 2 Force Strix. This is probably the best rank 4 in the entire deck. You can make it with any 2 level 4 monsters, and you can detach one to search level 4 Dark Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand. So your game plan is to just have 2 level 4 monsters on the field and then make your Force Strix and then search Singing Lanius or any other RAIDRAPTOR that you want, and then you can rank it on top of Rise Falcon, and then use your skill and then rank up again to Stolda or any of your rank 5s. So speaking of, Blaze Falcon is our first rank 5. It can attack directly if it has a Xyz material, and if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can pop a monster on your opponent's side of the field. Once per turn, you can detach one and pop all special summoned monsters your opponent controls, and also deal 215 damage for each monster destroyed. So really useful to clearing your opponent's side of the board, but it has a low attack of 1000. So if you want a higher attack monster to rank up on top, you can use this card instead, Stranger Falcon. Yes, Stranger Falcon. It has 2000 attack instead of 1000, and if this card has an Xyz monster as an Xyz material, which it will have, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can detach one to pop a monster your opponent controls and also deal effect damage equal to half its original attack. And also, if this card is destroyed by your opponent, and send to your graveyard, you can revive an RAIDRAPTOR Xyz monster and attach this card to it as material. So that is it for the extra deck as well. Let's go and have a look at the expensive version. So here we have the expensive version. As you can see, I'm not playing free copies of Tribute Lanius just because I don't have free copies, but if you have free copies, you should play free copies of Tribute Lanius. And also, we're not playing triple copies of Pain Lanius because we are playing more expensive and better cards. And also for our staple slots, we're playing MST and IDP, which are probably the two best cards that you can play in this deck. And for the extra deck, it is exactly the same. There is no changes to the extra deck because it is already pretty good. You could play a Ptolemy M7, which is a rank 6 monster that you can summon with the effect of Soul Shave Force. You can use its effect to bounce a monster your opponent controls back to the hand, or even recycle your own monsters from a graveyard. But I think that Revolution Falcon is just better because it is a RAIDRAPTOR monster, which means you can summon it even if you're locked with the effect of Fuzzy Lanius, and also his effect to attack all monsters once each is really powerful. So yeah, there's nothing too big of a difference for the there's not much of a difference of the expensive version and the free-to-play version, but yeah, that is the deck. Okay, so let's go through the pros and cons of the deck. 1. This deck is quite consistent because Tribute Lanius is a 1-card combo, and opening with any 2 RAIDRAPTORs usually gets you to the combo. The skill also guarantees that you at least end on a single soldier in turn 1. 2. The RAIDRAPTOR Xyz monsters are all built for going second. They all have effects that clear opponent's monsters, either by popping them or attacking multiple times, and the deck can spam multiple of them really easily. And the cons. 1. This deck's endboard going first is just so bad. Since you're making Soldier with Soul Shave Force, you'll only have a single material and nothing else. Soul Shave Force also halves your life points, so if your opponent can play through your Soldier, usually by a single Book of Moon, you are going to lose the game. 2. The deck doesn't have a lot of space for a lot of staple traps, which is a problem because you have to play a lot of search targets in your deck for searches like Force Tricks or your skill. So if you play more staple traps, you will risk bricking. And 3. This deck hard loses to interruption, because if your opponent interrupts your normal summon, all of your RAIDRAPTORs can't special summon themselves from your hand, and you can't really do anything other than to end turn. Overall, this deck is not very good. This deck is bad going first, and even if it goes second, one interruption will absolutely destroy this deck. So we will have to wait for more support until this deck will be viable in the meta. So anyway, let's have a look at the replays. Okay, we are going second, which is ideal for our deck. Opponent is playing Lifepoint Boost Alva, that tells us that they're probably playing Infernoids. And they activate the best kind of deck, Void Banishment, to search Void Feast, and there is our entire Inferno combo, just set Feast and pass. He activates Feast on our normal summon, which summons their 3 Infernoids from the deck. Decatron, they're actually gonna mill the Spell Negate, which is actually pretty smart because it negates ranked up magics. Anyway, he lets us Xyz into Force Tricks. We will search a Tribute Lanius for our next turn, and then we'll special summon Singing Lanius since we already drew it, and then special summon the Pain Lanius by targeting our own Singing Lanius and taking 50 damage. We're gonna make another Force Tricks. It is not once per turn, so we're gonna search another card, and then we're gonna rank up into a Rise Falcon, and it has a second animation which we are going to skip. And then we use it as Spectre targeting his level 4, and he's going to tribute itself to let the target to remove the target from his side of the field. We're going to use our second Rise Falcon, it is also not once per turn. He's going to also tribute the target. and then we're going to activate our skill, setting a copy of Revolution Force to our field, and we're going to end turn. And that is because he has a level 11 Decatron on his side of the field, which means all of his Infernoid monsters can't special summon themselves, because they can only special summon themselves when they have monsters less than level 8 on their field. So we're purposely not going to attack into his Decatron, which forces him to do nothing in end turn. Okay, we have Vanishing Lanius that we searched last turn, and also the Tribute Lanius that we also searched last turn. And then we're going to send the Mimicry Lanius, getting the Nest to our hand, and we're going to activate the Nest. Nest effect will revive, will search back a RAIDRAPTOR, but it gets negated by our opponent's Decatron. And we're going to special summon the Pain Lanius. We make 4 Strix that we return to the extra deck with a skill. And we're going to search a copy of Fuzzy Lanius. And we're going to rank up on top to make a Rise Falcon. And then we're going to use a skill, detach one, and then set Soul Shave Force. We're going to detach the Xyz monster because we're going to revive it with Soul Shave, and then rank on top and make Soda. And then we're going to activate Revolution Force that we set last turn to make a rank 5. And then we're going to attack, and attack for game. Okay, this time we are playing the expensive version of the deck, which isn't that much of a difference. It's just more copies of Tribute Lanius, which makes it a bit more consistent, and also just better Sable Traps. Our hand isn't actually really good, but it still gets us to the combo because we can just normal summon Singing Lanius, and then special summon Pain Lanius, which gets us to a rank 4, and then 4 Strix effect will get us our Tribute Lanius for our next turn. And then we're gonna make Rise Falcon, which again has a animation that we will skip. And then we'll activate our skill, detach one, set Soul Shave. Soul Shave activates its effect, halving our life points, reviving our our 4 Strix, and then making Solder. And then we set 2, and then our copy of rank 4 gets back to the extra deck. So our opponent is playing Gokis, which is a good thing because even though we only ended on 2 interruptions, 1 interruption is enough to stop the deck entirely. So we activate IDP, ending his turn, and then now we can combo off. We're gonna summon 2 Raptors, banish Mimicry from graveyard, searching our Nest, activate Nest, which grabs us another RAIDRAPTOR. We're gonna get back the Singing Lanius from a graveyard. It doesn't actually matter what we grab from the Nest, because for a reason that you will see later. So we're grabbing the Fuzzy Lanius, we're gonna rank into a Rise Falcon, and then we're gonna activate our skill, setting a rank up Magic Raid Force to our side of the field. We're gonna rank up our copy of Rise Falcon to a Stranger Falcon, and then activate the Raid Force, banishing the card we search from Nest to grab back our Soul Shave, and then we're gonna pay half our life points again, making a Revolution Falcon, and we're gonna pop with Stranger Falcon, and then Gokibet will search them a Octo Stretch, which they hope would save them, but it will not because we already have way more than lethal. He will half our attack, but with a blow of Evolza Solda, you will still win the game. So this deck is quite fun. If you go second, you can spam a lot of Xyz monsters on the field and pop a lot of monsters that your opponent has. But in a competitive sense, this deck is not very good going first or second, even though they can still consistently make 1 pop going first. But it still heavily relies on just your stable traps that you have in your deck, which you won't draw very often because of how many space it has for stable traps. But yeah, it is still a pretty fun deck, and I expect it will be better in the future when more better support cards are added into the game. So anyway, thanks for watching, goodbye.